Sam, welcome. Thanks so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come and have a chat with me. How are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a bit of a busy day, but yeah, isn't it always?
Yeah, and that's the challenges that you'll have with running family, school, work, and obviously rugby coaching.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely definitely a juggling act, really, and sort of trying to do everything and keep fit myself as well. So yeah, it does get a bit busy.
Can you just give a brief sort of summary of what your current coaching roles are? So where you coach and what you do in those environments.
Yeah, well, I coach. So I'm the head coach. That's primarily my job, really, with the women's team at Carlisle. So I sort of look after the team there. But I also sort of help with the girls' side. So we've got we're trying to get it off the ground, really. It's difficult with 3 age groups, so we sort of tend to merge it a little bit. So I sort of come down a little bit earlier to do a bit of that, and then obviously the women's on a Wednesday night, and sort of latterly helped out with the Cumbria County. So I've been doing some coaching with the county women's side as well. So yeah, just a few little jobs there, really, for the coaching side of things.
It makes me wonder how you fit it in, to be fair. But so you're obviously, that's where you're currently doing. Just briefly again, just as a sort of starter, where were you sort of 5 years ago in your coaching journey? Because obviously you're doing quite a lot now. Have you built up to doing that? Is it taking you a while to get to that?
Well, I probably it was probably more I played, really. So I was being coached. My degree that I did many moons ago had a coaching element to it, which I really enjoyed. But obviously the playing thing was my main focus, and I loved it. Which is probably why I'm coaching now, because I just didn't want to leave the game. I just wanted to be involved in some way. And sort of through working with young people and getting involved in bits and pieces there, and all schools coaching, I did a bit of that with some schools, particularly with girls. I just thought I loved it, and I wanted to get back into doing that again. So I moved out of playing because I'm just getting a bit old, really, and just wanted to look to do something different. So I did the Colts at the club, at Carlisle Club. So I sort of managed that and did a little bit of coaching. And that's when I found out I really liked it. And the women's coaching coach was going through a bit of a difficult time. So they ended up with no coach. So that's how I sort of got into doing the women's side, really.
That's a massive, you clearly, whether it be now or even a few years ago, you clearly covering a lot of environments there. So you've gone from all schools, for those people that don't know, that's getting schools that don't currently play rugby to play rugby, which has been a successful programme across the country, right up to, I think I'm right in saying, right up to the county women's sort of level. Yeah. How have you, notwithstanding the amount of commitment and time that just needs on its own, but how have you differentiated between coaching maybe the county women's side right down to the younger stage group that you might do at your club or even in the school environment? Has that been a challenge?
It's been different, and I think there's different skills, isn't there? There's different skill levels where you're going at. With women's particularly, you've probably got different stages of starting. So with all schools, with the girls' side of things, you're starting some real basics, that rugby, netball, that type of thing. But I still think going real back to basics, even with the county side, is really important, because I think handling, those skills have got to be up there with the county level. And we found that because we've got quite a few new teams in Cumbria, there's a couple of established teams, but we've got a lot of new teams coming through. We just found that the skill level wasn't there. So in a way, we were going back to basics a little bit with the county side as well, to try and develop those. So we did a lot of development sessions where we just invite any women from around the county, come down, join us, and we'll just do some basic skills, really.
Did you find it different coaching the Colts, like a group of young lads essentially at Carlisle, compared to them coaching girls of a similar age? What was the main differences you found there, if you did find any?
I think because the Colts have obviously played since, you know, under sevens. They've gone all the way through the club, a lot of them. They have a lot of knowledge, and it's a different way of coaching with the lads. It's very much more sort of directive, and, you know, we're going to do this, this and this. Is this how we're going to do it? And then you move on with it. Whereas I think women's rugby, you tend to be a little bit more descriptive, and you're having to be a little bit more demonstrating, this is what we want, this is what we're looking for, this is where you're going to go with this is going to help with this. So you have to give a lot more information, because they maybe haven't got that background in playing for the length of time as, you know, sort of Colts do, and the sort of male female difference as well, you know, the different way you probably use language and talk about things is different.
So that, I mean, that's a really honest answer. Clearly, with your experience, you found that quite easy to answer. What would you say if you were going to give advice to a youngster starting out in coaching that has only maybe coached one environment?
Although I've played for such a long time, I felt like I didn't know the game when I came into coaching, and I think you do know the game, and it's about, I think as well, because you've played it for so long, you just do it automatically. And I think when you're coaching, you've got to really think about, well, why did I do that, or what was that? So you're almost breaking it down a lot. So it's thinking about the basic things like the principles of play. I use those a lot, where I think go forward, that continuity, the support. So you're breaking the bit of the game down into those parts to make it a bit more simplified. So I do sort of a lot of that, really, and also just giving it a go, because I think if you get to know people and you get on with people, I think you find a way of getting the best out of people. And I think for me, that's what a lot of coaching is. It's being able to know your team and to be able to understand them and be able to sort of help develop them to be better players.
Excellent. I mean, God, so true. If you don't get to know your players, where do we all go as coaches? If that's one thing I'll take away from this conversation, that would be definitely it for me now. Just going on to maybe some barriers. Have you faced any barriers within the sort of all the roles you've had, all the coaching roles? I know we've known each other quite a while, so I don't want to preempt your answer here at all.
Well, as a woman in rugby, I mean, it has, and I've been there for a long time, so it has changed for the better over the years. But, you know, you still do turn up as a female coach, and they're looking for the guy, the male coach, you know, and so you still get a little bit of that, and that's even with coaching women's teams. So you do get a bit of that, but I find that quite a challenge, and I quite like that. Just to sort of strength, you know, demonstrate that.
Think, you know, so without going back right to the start, because obviously the women and girls games come on hugely in terms of both numbers playing and amount of. What do you think the biggest challenge you've overcome is in terms of what do you think the biggest significant change has been? I mean, in Cumbria or even at Carlisle or wherever, anything that stands out for you and why? And
I think it's just, you know, seeing that women's rugby is not the same as men's. It's different, and it's a different game. But it's got as much value in the club as any of the others. And I think, you know, clubs are really cottoning on to that fact that, you know, if we can bring the women, or we can get a women's team in the club, you know, it's just got a whole better community feel to it. You've got, you know, more volunteers coming in, you've got more people to help out, you know, you've got other people. I come on the board at Carlisle as well, so it's been having those voices to be able to sort of promote that women and girls game specifically for me. Although, you know, we are struggling now from the men's side of things, which is interesting.
Do you think being on the board helps? Because there's not many coaches that could probably say that at a large community club.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, I've been the So there's been a couple of us, but the majority of the time I've been the only female sort of member on the board. So it is I do enjoy it in that respect of just challenging some of those perceptions all the time. And if they've got something on, it's like, well, we're coming as well. We're part of that club, and it's really it has worked because they're obviously a bit of a they've got used to me now sort of challenging them, and you can't just say that. And
if there was one thing that you want to try and change in the next, and try and forget COVID at the moment, because that's obviously challenging us all, but in terms of just your rugby coaching, what challenge would you give yourself in the next sort of 12 months to really develop, or it might be outside a factor, it might be an outside influence that's struggling with a bit?
I think for me, it's just about me developing all the time and just reflecting. I've now got, because it was just me, I've now got a couple of coaches that are helping me out as well, which is great. Which is what I wanted to bring, because I think sometimes if you just get one view all the time, it's not. You need to have that, and for them to challenge me and vice versa. So I think that for me, that development and getting to where I want the team to be, I want them to be better, fitter, moving forward. And who knows if we're going to be playing league this year, because I thought this was going to be our year, really. I thought we're just going to be getting more women down, playing rugby, getting to a better standard, and hopefully do well in the league.
I mean, who knows what will happen in the next 3 or 4. So I know we've chatted a bit about this already, but in terms of your qualifications, so you did your England Rugby Coaching Award a while back now, didn't you?
Yeah.
You've done the Leadership Academy, which is fantastic. What's your thoughts on the England Rugby Advanced Coaching Award, which many people refer to as the level 3? Are you excited about looking forward to it? How do you feel?
I would really like to do it, because I want to sort of challenge myself and see, it'd be good to have somebody to observe, to see, what things that I'm doing right or things that could be improved, and to get some of that feedback would be really good, because you get a bit from your players, but most of the time it's unless you ask for it, you don't get it. And it would be really good to be able to sort of get some of that, to develop it and to move higher up that coaching qualification route, really, which is what I'd really like to do.
Right, and knowing you'll find time for it somehow, won't you?
I've got a very understanding husband and children, I think.
Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, Sam, thanks really so much for taking your time out this evening just to have this sort of 10-minute chat. I mean, good luck in your next steps. I'm sure from where you've got to already, I'm sure that you're going to find that a nice challenge. I might see you on your level 3 in the near future.
No, that'd be great.
Thanks a lot, Sam, and we'll no doubt speak soon.